Hi, everybody. Tony Marcolini. I'm joined today by my co-host, Seamus McDonough, and a very special guest. He is an actor, a writer, a producer, and I'm expecting any day for him to tell me he's getting into directing as well. Please welcome Ed Cordiano. Welcome, Ed.
Hey, everyone. How you guys doing?
Good. Seamus. How are you? We wanted to talk to you today about a couple of different things. One to do with your career, and one to do with your love of meditation, which I think truly connects you bonds you to Seamus, who's very much into meditation. Yeah. So I think we'll start though, who's meditating right now. I think we'll start though with career and then move towards the meditation later. But I definitely want to get to that with you because I'm super interested in that. The last time you were here, we were talking about the project you have. You're partnered with Alicia Minshew from All My Children and a plethora of other projects. And you guys were putting together a show called Eltingville. And I think you were in the process of filming the pilot.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
Yeah, you sure did. Yeah.
How are things going with that?
They're going great. So we filmed in May. We had like a 4-day shoot in May. We also raised some money before that, which is a whole other thing, and it might be willing to just touch upon that a little bit for some of your viewers who might turn in. But we actually did a Kickstarter campaign for the pilot, which is it's a crowdfunding. We had a great experience with it. So just basic premise of crowdfunding is that it's just a community that will come together and get behind a project. It doesn't have to be creative, but a lot of it is, creative projects, but also you can get behind a project, you can get behind a product. So we did a successful Kickstarter. We filmed in May. I was so happy with the production of it. And now we have our completed pilot, which I'm not going to do it. I'm not trying to sell it just yet. I'm just going to go to festivals with it and then just kind of want to take it the festival route. But it's like the best work I've ever done. I'm so proud of it. Couldn't have turned out better. So,
wow!
Congratulations! Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, I wish I knew you was done with editing. We would have harangued you to try to maybe put a clip up.
I know. As I'm saying it, I'm thinking I could have maybe brought in a clip, but next time I come on, we'll show a little clip.
Sounds good. Now, with Eltingville, you just did the pilot at this point, right? You haven't filmed further episodes.
We just did the pilot. Yeah, it's self-funded, independently produced. So we don't, So obviously the goal is to get it sold. I mean, we have some capital. We could continue to make it independently. There's actually, Seamus, we were talking about Brooklyn earlier before we started, but there's a series called Gravesend right now that is they're on Amazon, but and it's similar. It's a Gravesend Brooklyn. Well, not similar, but anyway, we could continue on funding, but we want to try to get it sold and bring on a production partner, which we think we have a good chance of doing. So, so right now we only have the pilot.
Very good. And you were the writer on that.
One of the writers. Yeah. So
that is so wonderful. Yeah, and that's how they do it. Like I'm with a project myself. From my friend from New York is doing a project called Ruth, about the Irish coming to New York and all the trauma they went through and it's a long story, but so good to hear this. I'm always so excited for people when they have something, when they get the pilot done. That's like amazing. Just
so
sell
good.
it.
I
sell
know.
it.
It was such I turned 46 yesterday. It was my birthday. So
happy birthday.
Thank you. And it speaks a little bit to the meditation and you guys know this, and we could talk about it, but like kind of setting intentions and it's any other day, but it's a day, it's a new beginning. So I just kind of took a little reflection on 45, and it was such a good year for so many reasons. And it wasn't a great year, but it was a great year, but as anything else is, sometimes you take a look back and you're like, oh, you had certain emotions, and just like, if you're in tune to kind of how you feel, right? We all go through the same things. Even if you have good stuff going on, it's like on any given day, you might be feeling anxious. Why? Well, I don't know, but that's just how it is. And I think meditation is something that helps you to accept, how you feel. So I was going through this exercise. I was kind of just looking back on the year and kind of looking forward, and there were a lot of good things happened. at 45.
Our brains think the exact same way, Ed. I'm exactly the same thing. It's like, if your purpose, basically my purpose in life is to feel good now, and it's always now, and then I can help people and be kind to people and smile at people, and so thank you.
Oh, I feel your energy. I feel that you want to put that out there. It's just, and same thing with Tony, and I think that part of that is knowing, like, when you don't feel good, or if you feel a little bit off, like, you just accept it. That's what I kind of get to the point where, like, I might feel off. I might know why, I might not, but I practice acceptance a lot of the time. I don't try to dig into kind of like, why do I feel like this right now? But by nature, I'm a very positive person by nature. My mom, if she was on here with me, she'd be like, he was always so positive, and it is my nature, naturally how I am. And not everybody's like that, right? And that's
Right.
okay. We can't all be like that, because then, it would be weird if everybody was like that. It has to be, and so variety is good. But meditation is a big aspect of my life. I was so nervous the morning that we were filming Eltingville, and the night before, no joke. And I sleep well, and I'm sure you do too, you guys, both of you. I'm sure that you do. I was laying in bed. I was like, I can't do it. There's no way, like, just this doubt crept in, and I was like, there's no way. I got to call it off. I got to call everybody. I'm going to give back the money. I can't do it. But it was a fleeting thought. I knew that it was a fleeting thought. I said, okay, that's how you feel. That's okay. And then woke up the next morning, and, we got it done. And it was divine. So, when you put things out, I pray every day too. So when you put stuff out there, it comes back. So there was some divine stuff that was happening. And I know that it was, it was truly divine.
Well, I mean,
Go ahead, Tony.
I was going to say, this is a real good place to put it, and we'll get back to your career. How's that? Let's talk about meditation while we're here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're absolutely on the money, right? Because so much of our lives is spent stressed out, and we often don't think about caring for ourselves. I mean, I know that I've totally changed my life and how I eat. I'm on a plant-based whole food diet. I exercise, I walk a half hour a day. And I also, now I meditate. And we were talking just now about divine intervention. I pray. I really, because I had cancer, what the most of our listeners, I think, know, but coming out of that, I used it as that divine tap on the shoulder to change my life. And it's so important for people who are in a situation to maybe take a look at your own life and what's happening, and are you taking care of yourself? Because stress will eat a hole right through the center of you if you don't figure out a way to manage it, and a way to take care of yourself and your body and your health, and putting good nutrition in your body is so important. And you can't live on Doritos and McDonald's and expect a real positive outcome. And that's just the reality. Yeah. So you're somebody like Seamus, you're both heavily into meditation long before I ever even thought and gave it a second thought. I think I wouldn't have given a second thought before my cancer. I don't even know if I would have been receptive to hear what you were saying if you were recommending it to me. So let's talk about that. How have you used meditation in your life, Ed? And how did you get into it? How did you start?
I actually started doing yoga first. I got married at 25, and I had always worked out, and I played high school sports and kept on working out, but got married and then had a baby and then had another baby. And so I was like 28 years old, and and then the stress of family life and all, it was all wonderful, but I felt like even the workouts, kind of something was missing. So I started doing, I was going to the YMCA. I was in Staten Island, started to do yoga, and yoga changed my life. So I started to develop a yoga practice first when I was like 28 years old. And then once I got more into yoga, like in the Americanized kind of version of yoga, it's very physical, which it is. The asanas are the poses that you go through, and it is very physical, and it's a great workout. But there's really, yoga before that was breath work and more like a way of life. And so, and like a vinyasa flow was like the pairing of your body movement and your breath, right? And then quietness of the mind. So I fell in love with yoga. And so, for years I just had a yoga practice, and I would meditate intermittently. here and there. Opened up a yoga studio that I had for 6 years, which was just another side business that I had. I sold it in 2018, but through that journey for about 5 years now, I've had a steady, very steady meditation practice. And the reason why I made it so steady is because it's like cumulative. It kind of builds up over time. So if I just paused right now and sat here, like, it's easy for me to kind of access that stillness and that peace, right? So it's just kind of like, it's the repetition is what really, really helps. So I meditate every day, but one tip, I'm gonna give 2 tips actually. One tip is that we're all visual. So if you're trying to develop a practice, say like a meditation, get a calendar, a desk calendar, put it on your desk, and you could track your progress. I put a little circle and a cross, put that every day. So some days if I don't do it at the same time, because that's what the thing is, you're not going to always be able to do it at the same time for whatever reason. Maybe you're traveling, maybe you're on vacation, maybe this, maybe that. Before I go to bed, I know I look at it and I say, okay, I didn't do it today. And eventually you don't need it because you know if you did it or not, but we're visual. We need something visual. So I mark my progress on the calendar. I'm proud of my progress. It's been years that I do it. And it's not like an OCD thing. I'm not OCD about it. It's just a matter of like, we need something visual that we can kind of see it. So that's what's helped me a lot. And it's changed my life. I mean, it's the best thing I do every day.
Did you just start one day or did you go to take a class?
I looked up a few things online. The meditation that I do, it's Transcendental Meditation. It's called TM, and TM is, and I went to a center for it. It's 20 minutes twice a day, technically is what TM is, right? That's what they recommend. 20 minutes twice a day. No mind control, just eyes closed and breathing. And then there's a mantra if you want to incorporate a mantra. Your mantra could be anything. It's just something you say repetitively over and over again to yourself. I use it if I need it. Some days if I'm a little more racy than others, or I'll use the mantra as I need it. But it's easy, and don't. The biggest thing is that don't judge yourself. If you judge the meditation and you think you're going to get to this place, you're not. That's not how it works. You're just slowing down your mind a little bit. That's all it is. You're just kind of slowing it down so you can breathe and just kind of get to your true and natural self, and that's it.
Wow. Now, really, this is no mistakes. I've also practiced Transcendental Meditation for almost 26 years.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow.
I mean, upon awaking in the morning, I do it, and but I discovered something else that might be useful to you, Ed.
Tell me.
25 years ago, I couldn't do the meditation. I learned I couldn't do it, and a fellow, I'm also 25 years sober. A fellow suggests, he says, well, what's taking you out of the meditation is what's in your head. So he showed me how to surrender, basically write down my, the number one offender in the world, like you said, or like you implied, is resentment. And when I don't get what I want, I get resentful. So basically, I'm always resentful. There's always something I want, Yeah. And what makes me resentful is what is my thinking, the training I've had my whole life, My training has my dad was a great boxing trainer, but he's like, you're not supposed to cry, don't cry, don't show emotion, all this stuff. It's supposed to be the manly thing, like Brooklyn, Ireland, the same thing. It's all the same everywhere for men. And so whatever's in my head, I write it down on paper, and my meditation improved tenfold. And I've done it like I said, for 20. I learned 26 years ago. I've done it for over 25, and the reason I continue to do it is because it makes me feel so good. And like I was saying earlier, when I feel good, I can be friends, kind to my partner, or with my friends, or people I work with, or people on the street, smile at them, whatever, Right. And that way, it's. You're in a world, the butterfly effect, Yeah. If I'm not the word smiling all the time, running around smiling and laughing all the time, but if I just happen to consciously have a look at somebody and I smile, they might smile back, and it doesn't overcome their problems, but it's a little bit. and because my world's on my shoulders. That's my world, and as I navigate, traverse the world, I want I have a child also. I just had a child 6.5 months ago, almost 7 months ago now. I want him to live in a better world than I lived in.
Yeah.
I lived in Brooklyn like you Ed, and it was rough sometimes, it still is. The whole world is rough, but no one's actually to blame for anything. Everyone's just a product of their past.
That is so true.
Everyone's a product of the past. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, but that's so true. I think about that often. I also think that would be a great, I love that tip. And I keep a journal. I keep my little prayer book, keep my cross on top of it. And then I have my journal. And then I have, then a couple of books that I read, my Bible and all. But I think that is an amazing thing that you said to do, to kind of write some stuff down, before going into the meditation, because I just think that would be so helpful, because there's always things there that are underlying. But I think about that all the time. I think, and it's the kind of the evolution, or maybe the, when you're kind of reaching maybe a higher level of consciousness, right? And to realize maybe certain things where you don't know where this person is coming from, or how they grew up, or there's so many layers to that, it's almost ridiculous to react to somebody, or to, like, I can't stand political conversations unless you do that for a living. It's the conversations I don't have, because we've forgotten how to, like, hear somebody else's point of view and just kind of respect whatever that is. Right? Like that's just the point of, it's so important for us to be able to do that, and anything less than that, I feel like is, it's just not the way that, that we should be. But
civility, right? Civility is diminishing. Civility is diminishing.
It is, because everybody has a voice, which is cool, right? Everybody can put something out there, and everybody has a voice, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't, there's nothing behind that, unless, if you have a voice and you want to go out and do something about it, whatever it might be, then great. I love to see that. I love to see people who are firm in what they believe in, and they're out there doing something, whatever it is. Could be small. Doesn't have to be anything big, but otherwise it's just, there's nothing to it. If you put something out there, it's just words, or to get under somebody's skin, then that's fine. Think how you think and do something about it, but don't tell anybody. Just go out and do it, and just do it because it means something to you. Not that you want to put something out there and, that's not the way to go,
My parting experience to everybody I meet is that when they leave me, I say, don't hurt nobody. Which is a double negative, as we know.
Right.
but they get the meaning,
Yeah, I like that too. I do.
Yeah. You just brought something up that's so important in my life. When I got to understand and realize that I'm actually not always doing what I want to do. I'm doing what I'm trained to do in this world, and the stuff in my head is often not my thinking. It's reactions to previous thinking. So when I don't like how I feel, what I really need is a profound alteration in my reaction to life. So rather than just react to somebody now based on the past, I can actually hear them with a clear consciousness and respond to them right here, right now, and be helpful and loving, all that stuff. Not all the time. We're not saints. Right. But yeah. So that's what you brought up, and
I wanted to. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, please go. Please go ahead.
Imagine being in this conversation now that we're having, and if none of us were actually listening to the other person, it wouldn't be good. No, like, we're moving in a direction, we're making points, and so that's one of the things where it's like, just listen. And even with acting, and that does tie back into acting, and it ties into all the things that you do. If you're whatever in a relationship of any kind, just listen. Listen.
And listening brings you to now.
That's right.
Carpe diem, memento mori, the whole thing.
Oh, the memento. Okay, so I have this right here. So I wanted to show you guys this one thing, right? So this is I have this on the wall in my room. It's my memento mori calendar. It's right. So all these dots that you see, this is every single week of my life. Every dot is 1 week. So yesterday I just filled in, so it was a whole line. So a whole line is 1 year. So all these dots indicate 90 years, right? So it's my memento mori.
Wow.
I keep it on my wall. And every Sunday morning when I wake up and I fill in a dot and I just do a little reflection and I say, how was the week? And inevitably, you know, I probably got angry a few times. I probably was eating foods at certain times where I didn't want to be. And I'm not judging it. I'm just saying, I look at what was good. I look at what was bad. So I know it raises my awareness for kind of what it is. But the thing is that did I make the most of the time, right? By far and away, I don't care money, anything. The time is gone. Once it's gone, it's gone. And I look back yesterday, right, at night, and I filled in my little. I did the dot on so what's today? Tuesday, so did it on Sunday. But I did my reflection yesterday, and 45 was a great year. Made mistakes. That's the other thing. That's also the meditation helps with that. Made mistakes, did things wrong. I did waste some time. It wasn't this. We're not perfect, you know, but overall, it was a great year. Great year of growth. My spirituality grew. I didn't miss a day of prayer and meditation. We did Eltingville. I'm in pre-production on another project with Alicia Minshew, my partner, that we're going to film, you know, later on in 2022. I'm also producing something. So great year, you know, but the most important things for me is like good person, good father, good to other people. And, you know, one thing I always pray for too is that like, I want to be able to know the needs of others. Maybe not so specifically, but you know, when you meet somebody or you come across somebody, or whether it's somebody who you know or not, and you pick up on something and maybe you might say something, or maybe, you know, so I always want to kind of be in the moment, like Seamus is saying, so I'm more in tune to know the needs of others. It's one of my main things that I want to be able to do in life. I want to know if I cross paths with somebody, I want to know if something's going on, you know, even if we don't talk about it. So the memento mori is a big one. It's, you know, it's something that I, you know, just try to live by and, you know, be
beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
I love
Thanks,
that.
Mm.
So tell us about that. You have another project. It sounds like you're working with Alicia on.
Yeah, it's called Yola, and it's loosely based on her beautiful grandmother. And so now we're gonna film in Florida at the end of 2022, but it's kind of just it's about love and life and cooking and this beautiful person who was kind of there for everyone. So it kind of revolves around a group of people who she kind of becomes their person, their mother. And so we were going to film in Brooklyn at first, and we're going to do a duplex. And then we had these few characters who were going to go, and and she's kind of their mentor and their person because they don't have family of their own. And then we decided we're going to film in Florida, but so we don't have a script yet, but we're pre-production, but it's just it'll be a drama story of love and life and food. She's a great cook. Yola's a great cook. So we, you know, all the things that we want about it, you know, like, because life is tough right now. So what do people want to see? Like cute animals and food and things like that. Just easy. We want to make it, you know, kind of an easy feel good story. So
I'm looking forward to that. Now tell me, you were also involved in something on, do you have a Facebook series, I think Episodic? Did I get that right?
Yeah, so the Everything Show, is that the one that
No, the Everything Show I know, but something called Episodic. It was like parodies or something on Facebook.
Yeah, that was another Anthony Bradford is another actor and producer who I've worked with a little bit. So you know, he puts out these parodies, and he's a friend of mine, so he's cast me in a few of his things. I'm working on something else right now. It's actually the biggest acting job that I've ever done. It's called Winds of Silence, and I'm playing Nick Wind, and it's basically the lead character. It's a feature film, and it's about these two brothers who had a falling out when they were young, and the younger brother fell and got hurt, and he got a nail in his head, and he's disabled in the story, and it's an interesting story about forgiveness. Ultimately, it's about kind of forgiveness and how things get carried away, and a family feud could turn into this lifelong thing. So it's this culmination of, you know, this feud that these brothers had for so long, and it's kind of them kind of rectifying, you know, what happened. So it's an interesting story, but for me, it's good because I see myself as more of a writer and a producer, but I've been doing a lot of acting, which is fine. You know, I want to kind of go with the flow, you know. So
okay, so who's producing the feature?
his name is Joseph Mangano. He's the writer and the producer of it. He's done a few other projects too. And his brother is Anthony Mangano, who is a pretty well-known actor. He's been around for a while. So, and I'll tell you how it happened. So very good friend of mine, Chris Tardio, is a very well-established actor, great actor. And he was cast to do it, and then he just wasn't able to. So, but he called up the producer and said, "Hey, I got a guy for you." And I was that guy. So,
wow.
Yeah. So I didn't have to audition or anything. And he cast me on the spot. We had a conversation, and that's it. So actually filming tonight. I got a 6 o'clock call time, and
nice. When will your production be done?
Probably pre-production. Well, production will be done by the middle of December, and then it's a feature. So he'll take a few months to edit, but I'll come back, you know, when that's available too, for sure.
Oh, please come back and promote it and talk about it.
Yeah. Tony, you know, you brought me and Lish together, who's now really we're partners. I mean, she's my partner in the company. We have all these things going in there. I wouldn't have known her if it wasn't for you. So I'm really grateful for that.
Well, something tells me you would have found each other in the world because you're so well suited. You really click together. So I thank you. I'm happy that I was somehow involved, but I feel like you both would have run into each other like in a Dunkin' Donuts in Manhattan or something anyway.
We are very similar, but now Seamus is my friend too. So now I'm very grateful for that as well, because it's just
very nice.
Yeah.
And if you're ever in a fight, you really want Seamus there. I mean,
I don't know. I'm not much of a fighter anymore.
But still, just it scares people. Just you show them the picture of you punching Evander Holyfield. You know, his face is all squashed up to the side.
Oh well, you know what I'm doing after we get off. I'm going to YouTube and I'm going to watch Seamus's fights. Of course, it's not even a question. There's
one I don't want you to watch. But anyway, yeah, I showed that picture to. I don't like to show the picture because it's a very violent picture, but I did it. What the hell? But I have a shoe shine business, and we use it to parlay into marketing, and we go to conventions all around the country, and done some in England and Ireland. And I was with a friend, and the picture came out. You know, it's there, and the guy I was shining his shoes, he was kind of having a bad day, and he's looking at me, and he didn't believe the guy that I fought Holyfield, and I hit him a few times. And he said to me, "Did you fight Holyfield?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was getting madder and madder, you know. And so he gets off the chair and he goes to pay me for the shoe shine, and he says, "I'm gonna Google you." And I said, "I'm gonna Google you." So that's my Google commercial.
It's great. Well, boxing is so poetic. Like it's and deep down, I think there's something so poetic and beautiful about boxing, and about just the sheer nature of what it is. And it's this fight, and the sportsmanship I find is so incredible, where after a fight, it's a sport. It's still a sport. You're hugging. You have this mutual respect because you went through something. Yeah. You should be saying this, not me, because you're the one that actually did it. But but that's what I love so much about it. I like to see, like, yes, and I could only imagine we all have a temper and emotions, but it's a sport. You're in there, and you love that person when you're done. Probably in most instances, right?
Totally. And since you spotted, you got it also. So you've had that also, I can tell. And I was a tiny bit late coming on this morning again, Tony, because I actually got involved in this podcast about this guy who's trying to get build some kind of a company on, like, basically he just said, "I don't want to use all A-list actors." I was like, "That's me. I'm not an A-list actor, or athlete, A-list athlete." So I said, "I'm like a D-list athlete, whatever." So I was writing something. I just sent a message out to him before this podcast, and There are like, we know the backstory is always way more interesting than what we see on the screen, and you know, stuff and how it was made and where you came from and all this stuff. And those stories are like, there's millions of them. I just keep getting notifications. Sorry. So yeah. So continue.
Well, I'll tell you this really quick. But my yoga studio was Power Yoga Center for 5 years, and then I love boxing so much that I changed the name of my studio, and I was calling it East Coast Yoga and Boxing, because what better than to let out some aggression first, because we all have it. It's part of, right? I mean, when I get angry, I don't care that I got angry. I just don't want to get to that point where I let the anger manifest and it comes out, right? So let's let out the aggression and then go and do. So it was like 30 minutes of boxing, you know, and then 30 minutes of just kind of yoga and breath work, because it's, you know, I felt like it was like, you know, such a great workout, both physical and mental, because, you know, I don't care the emotion that I feel. I just don't want to act on it. I'll feel whatever it is, because that's normal. Thank God we feel angry and sad and happy and surprised. But if you feel angry, that's fine. But, you know, if you go and do, you know, if you go and do negative things as a result of it, then that's when, you know, you want to take a look at that. But
that's right up my alley, Ed. When I start feeling angry, I get my pen and paper out and I get to the root cause of my anger. What's driving me? What didn't I get what I wanted? What's driving me? What happened? What did they do? What did I think they did? That's usually the question, you know. That's usually the situation. And I write it down. It just starts to dissipate. It doesn't bother me as much. I need that. I need it a lot. I do it all the time. Yeah.
I love that. I'm gonna start doing the same. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Well, before we close out, I have to ask you, you know, we're very into creativity here, and I get a lot of writers who come on, and I have to know, you know, what the creative process looks like for them. And so, Ed, since you do a lot of writing, what does the creative process look like for you? I mean, this is a compound question, so I'm going to ask it, and I think I'm just going to throw it all out there and then leave it to you. So first of all, do you get your inspiration? Does it just come natural? Do you sit down? Like Matthew Dix, best-selling author, he was on a couple of weeks ago, and he said, you know what? I don't come up with anything ahead of time. I don't outline my stories. I'm not like in the shower or walking the dog and suddenly I know. I sit down, and when my fingers touch the keyboard, that's when the story just comes out of my head and right into the computer. I don't even know ahead of time what's going to happen to the characters. I'm as surprised as everyone else. Wow. That was more or less how creativity looked like for him. But we've had other authors on who said, you know what, I work things out while I'm doing the dishes or I'm walking the dog, and I kind of lay the whole story out in my head. Then I come home and outline it. Another person told us, I'm in the shower, I'm singing, and like the back of my brain's just working on the story and it spits it back out to me. What does creativity look like to you, and how do you create?
That's such a great question. And it's so true about everybody kind of has a different, you know, different methodologies that work. I can tell you for me, first of all, creatively, my inspiration only comes to me when I'm being physical. So if I'm exercising and doing all the things that we've just spent a lot of time talking about. So when I'm overeating and if I'm hungover and if I'm doing, like, creatively, I'm kind of empty on that. So that's just like a basic, you know, kind of when will things creatively come to me, or if I have an idea or something that I want to start to write about. I think this is a good tip, and any well-established professional, you know, writer, I think the hardest thing about writing is the discipline aspect of it. It's so difficult to do it, and I'm not there yet. I can be a lot better. But if you listen to any really there's no other way to do it. You have to set aside a certain amount of time. You know, right now for me, it's an hour. I wish it was 5 hours. And you sit down and you write. Now, I know that sounds crazy because maybe you're not going to be that productive. But you have to have the discipline to set aside the time and to sit down and to do it. That's one thing I think is a very big thing. Even if you're an aspiring writer or something like that, you have to sit down. Writers write. And the hardest part is to sit down and to actually do the writing. And as
Thank
far as
you. Thank you.
No, it's really, it's absolutely, you know, it's the only way. So you're welcome. But the other thing I do have a little bit of a process. I'll outline. I do like to outline and know. I have to have an idea of where I'm going to go. And maybe the reason why is because I'm very collaborative. So for Eltingville, Chris Roberti is the director of Eltingville, and he co-wrote it. And he's one of the most talented artists that I know. I love him as a person and as an artist. And when he kind of came in and got involved and he was directing, he had things that he wanted to do. And he's an amazing storyteller. I'm always open to collaboration. And if you're collaborating with the right person, they're not going to change plot. It's not about changing plot. It's about raising up the work. Is not, plot is different. So he really raised the work. So I think collaboration is important. So anybody, it's just what works for me. But I think as an artist, I think you should always, it's all a collaboration, right? I mean, it's for making movies is a complete collaborative, medium. So, that's kind of where I come from on that.
Do you get your ideas from just observation? I mean, is it just like you're at the deli waiting, waiting to get to the end and get the cashier your item, and suddenly you see a person and you think, wow, there's got to be an interesting story there. I mean, where do your ideas come from?
Yeah, I'm very empathetic, and I think again it ties into a lot of this conversation. But I think my empathy, and I do have a natural curiosity, and I love to talk to strangers. My kids tell me maybe too much, I feel like that, stop,
Yeah.
And probably they have a little bit of a point to a certain extent, but I think from the empathy, so I can look. A lot of it is inspired by stuff that I've been through. I mean, I've experienced loss, a lot of loss, and just I'm divorced, and just different aspects of pain. Ultimately, it's all pain, right? A lot of all that we write about is pain.
Oh, totally. And so even this interview podcast, thank you for raising our intellects to a higher level of consciousness.
Thank you. Thank you so for even saying that, and thank you for thank you, because that's a nice thing to say, and you've done the same thing for me. You really have, just being on here. But once we all experience the pain. And once you can do those positive things that we spoke about, you can call on that. And Tony, I mean, Tony, you've been through so much, right? And once you're on the other side of it, then you could kind of call on it. When you're in it, it's really hard to, it's hard to,
Oh,
Can I say one thing about the pain? Sorry, I'm so sorry, Tony.
No,
about
please.
the pain. So you said something about the pain before, which caught my interest, and I have a newer thing about pain. I do not have to accept anything that causes me pain. Now, with this writing process, I can face and be rid of the cause of the pain and unearth in me what I'm being blocked from. And it's a newer, it's a higher level of consciousness, I've noticed.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, you're making, I like the way you articulated that, because you're ultimately, that's a choice. You're making a choice, which is, and I just read this book, and it was Guide to the Good Life, and it was about Stoic philosophy, which I've been very interested in, ancient Stoic philosophy.
Yeah.
And I love it. And one of the things was that, like levels of control, and Seamus, you're kind of talking about that a little bit. You're taking some control over that and doing something with it. But this is simple, and I tell this to the kids that I coach and all, but I don't know, I like the way that it was laid out, and there's 3 levels of control: things that we have full control over, things that we have partial control over, things that we have no control over. Full control is, I wore this for this podcast, and this is full control. Partial control is if I'm going into a boxing match and I did my best, right? I don't have full control if I win that match, right? I think that's a great example. So what do you focus on? You focus on the training, the runs, the extra workout, your mental state, what you eat. You do all those things, and if you get in the ring or whatever it is, and if the outcome is not favorable, typically you'll be okay with that, because you did all the things that were in your control. And then the thing that drives me that I think is crazy, and I actually never do this, even just naturally before I even went down any road of self-exploration, I don't worry about things that are not in my control, ever. I don't care about them.
Say one thing. Thank you to begin with. So the only reality I know is right now. my only relationship to the past is a memory, and all memory is faulty. So reality is right now. In the future, there really is no future. It's just a projection of the past.
That's right.
So if I clear away the past with my writing, there's less projection, and I'm more now. And when I'm now, the more now I am, the better I feel, and the more people I can love and help and get along with, and not bring harmony to the world, not strife. Yeah.
I think it's the only way that you could actually be, and I don't even know if happy is the right word, but you could be peaceful, right?
Yes.
I want to live a virtuous life. And these are not my words. It was part of the book, but it was articulated. But I want to live a virtuous life so it will lead to peace and tranquility, ultimately. Happiness Beautiful. Is a food. I'll take it, but happiness can come from eating a good meal or seeing, a smile on my kid's face, or I'm happy right now. I mean, this has been a wonderful conversation, and it's something I didn't even expect to even be doing this today, and I'm so grateful for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got that Henry David Thoreau thing going on, Ralph Waldo Emerson, right? That's exactly where they come from, that sense of peace. And Seamus, you talk about their greatest top 10 list. Go ahead. I don't want to take your line away. You're all
Dave,
about
like Dave Letterman, they had the top 10 list. And Ed, guess what was number one on both their lists? Top 10 measures of success in life.
Just happiness, or like
very close.
Peaceful.
The number specifically, it says to laugh often.
Yeah. You're making me think. You see that the ad where it's like, you're gonna start acting like you're gonna turn into your mom, and the guy, he's walking through it, and the sign is live, laugh, love, and the guy's like, do you really need a sign that says live, laugh, love? No, you don't. What do I have? Oh, good food, good friends, good times. I like signs, but.
Well, on that note, I know we're out of time, but I invite you. I mean, you have an open invitation to come back whenever you have time for us. Please come back.
Thank you, Ed, so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much to both of you. I mean it. You guys are beautiful. I love it. I'm so grateful to be on. So thank you both so much.
Takes one to know one. Thank you.
Thank you. And from everyone here, it may interest you to know. Bye.